Have you ever wondered if there was something you missed, a gem amongst the rubble whose glint never caught your eye? I'm gonna show you a game sponsored by Disney that sold so poorly it ended its creators, and yet was received so well it is to this day nothing but legend. It went by in a split second. That killed its makers and made it the masterpiece it is today. I hope you're ready.
This game is so sick. It's got its issues, but it's a one of a kind.
To describe this game, words seem futile. Split Second's language is hellfire, yet I'm bound by them. A man of few words, but plenty of explosions, Michael Bay perhaps captures Split Second most succinctly. The 2010 graphics are masked by his trademark filter that makes the entire world look like it's sweating. In Transformers, I'd question it, but in Split Second...
I loved his comparison to Transformers graphics, because I had never made that connection. Why did so few play it then? They'll go over it.
Second, you've got a damn good reason to be all hot and bothered. The sense of speed is most clearly accentuated by the complex density of the environment and the detail of the road surface. The blurring and rate at which familiar, measurable objects go by provides a quantification for your own speed. This is compounded on once by the sound design's respect for wind.
Oh, yeah.
And again by tangible displays of force as
I had this sick gamer chair, which is a lame thing to say. Back when I had this game, I would play this game on a projector because it was very cringe. And I had one of those like chairs with the speakers in the headset and down by your legs. And it had like dynamic audio, so if you'd pass something, the sound would trigger by your legs, then by your head, so you'd really feel like the motion. It was so sick.
Car smashes through the gates, barrels, boxes, and pipes littering the tracks. Density, meaningful blurring, wind and physics objects concoct perhaps the most visceral sense of power in an arcade racer for a decade. But that's not why you're here. Any path you take, any corner you turn, any window you pass, they're always there. The power plays, just waiting. Split Second doesn't feel like a race. It feels like an escape. You're pursued by a monstrous beast and your smartest play isn't perfect speed. It's simply outrunning your opponents, or feeding them to the fire first. In that, this game presents an excellent compromise between the QTE of Watch Dogs and a true timing challenge, by showing the prompt not when the enemy is in range of an explosion, but merely when they're nearby the power play. That way you can still fight without perfect line of sight, but it remains a fight, not a trivial test of press button to delete pursuer. You'll still have to predict timing according to where the enemy is and what kind of power play you're looking at. It can be all too easy to wreck yourself if you only forget to check yourself. Oh yes, the world comes crashing.
The writing in this video is so clean.
Down, but if you earn the right, at your command. And we don't owe it to the invisible magic of hacking or intangible acts of God, but instead, diegetic expressions of the tracks themselves. Split Second organizes its carnage in an almost mathematical way. Chaos is tense, but paced. There is broad variation, depth, and a diegetic factor that amplifies the action immersively. Schedule Chernobyl for refurbishment, buckle the expressway in the city, and as for the airport, well... The core mechanic is contextualized by the tracks so well they become unforgettable. If I say airport to someone who played Split Second all those years ago, it won't be this they'll remember. It'll be screaming and bending their controllers to avoid being flattened by a 747. But the music can't avoid the impact. The hardest power plays come with the best sound design. They'll reel back the music and let the bass soar as the cruise ship eats into the harbor. They'll give a chilling pause and let the nuclear alarm fill the air in a Soviet war far from cold, but very red. Red power plays are the ones that'll make your heart skip a beat, but as much as it owes that to the spectacle, the gameplay can alter too. You didn't think the shortcut system would be boring, did you? Where a red route changer might have an aircraft carrier crush the track and change every lap thereafter, a blue one is something simpler but no less tense. Activating one is temporary. You don't want anyone else using the shortcut you paid for. Cut it as close as possible. Or maybe you want to risk going for a rival's shortcut late. You better hope you have enough time to slip under. Or split second is going to take a much more literal meaning. Yes, it's risk-reward that underpins the shortcuts in this game. A fact never more obvious than when it doesn't even tell you. Many of Split Second's tracks have faster alternate routes built in. No activation needed. You can cut through the gas station or slip under the power plant. But the catch is that they're also power plays. You sure no one's got their finger on the trigger? Just ready for someone to take the bait? Make sure you're the trapper, not the trapped.
The most intense thing to go through back then was playing this game every day, hearing people scream at you before the lobby, picking a rival and timing it, like the wide window you have for certain power plays is so good, and just going in, and especially not now with the AI, but when you'd be on that runway and the plane is coming down, it's not just the plane. You have 5 other people there because they're all actual people who aren't garbage like the AI, battering you around, and you want to slow down, make them fly into it. So good.
In these risk rewards, Split Second does introduce an element of luck to its gameplay routine. You are, in every meaningful sense, rolling the dice, but done right. There's an artistry to balancing luck with skill. Power plays are the living example. When a crane's cargo is dropped out of the sky, it's the bounce that provides a time window to gun it through the gap.
Choosing the right
Small
times
delays
to
and
gamble.
telegraphs manage to be long enough to be readable, but quick enough to be tense. Where AI will never perfectly time an explosive barrel to take you out in an instant, there are exceptions. Alternate route power plays, for example, are fair game. If you're in the gas station, there's every chance someone hits the trigger. There are other power plays that are less fair game. They're more broken game. If the sweeping construction arm is
I don't understand this take though. I think the crane, it does a loud sound. I think it's almost always dodgeable. I think the crane is always dodgeable, personally.
timed right, there's nothing you can do to react. But it can get worse. You
It does
respawn
take
after
skill.
the first sweep and immediately get flattened
Now
by the
this-
second. This is where Split
that-
Second crosses the line.
I
But
remember
there is a
that.
wisdom to being blown
That
away
sucks.
every so often. Were you to wise up to the fact that the AI could only ever hit you with a fair telegraph, then basic mastery of those telegraphs would melt the tension away. By contrast to many other arcade races that create tension through unpredictable elements like traffic, Split Second has no pretensions to a perfectly competitive environment where skill factor is absolute. It isn't trying to be fair, it's trying to be tense. A risky line to walk, but Split Second walks it well enough for the experience it's trying to deliver. Sometimes you'll be frustrated, but mostly you'll be thrilled.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat sometimes.
This is the soundtrack at its slowest pace, and that's only because it needs to match the title cards. The eye of the hurricane is the short delay between events, but even here it can't stay calm. Why would you want to be calm? No one playing
I never thought about the music that much. I already knew it was dope, but the way he describes it, and you always it immerses you so well. I don't know very many games that completely shut off their soundtrack for an in-game race event. Whenever the boat comes crashing down and suddenly it's silent and then a barrage of noise immersing you further into the race.
Split Second knows what big words mean, or can count above 20. If you want to tune engines or draw a zero,
Very simple. It's not like Need for Speed where it's obnoxiously complicated. It is an arcade racer. This is the car you want for this. This is the car you want for that. It's very straightforward.
02 decal on your car, maybe you should go back to doing your science homework, or playing with Barbie dolls.
This car go fast. This car is strong. This car drifts a lot.
Split Second wastes no time. 4 stats: strength, drift, speed, and acceleration. 3 manufacturers: Corbetti, Hanzo, and Ryback, with 3 distinct personalities: quick, balanced, and heavy. The game replicates a familiar Need for Speed physics system. Cars drift easily and broadly. You can do so with a brake or by releasing and reapplying the accelerator with a slight pause. There's a depth in the choice of how to drift that way, which, including just taking it flat out, compose your 3 cornering choices. The hidden 4th is more stylish, being blown through the bend by a shockwave. And in this, the role of each attribute becomes clear. Want to survive?
Back then, learning how to use the explosions to your advantage and the offensive attacks of other players, The annoying thing is if you plan for it and they don't do it. Like, you're like, please attack me, like you're about to crash. So, like, you lean just right of where something could explode and it pushes you back on course. Or it's too late to pull away from a shortcut, but you don't have the power to open it, and you're just like, please open it, please open it, please open it, and it just poof, bursts open right as you fly through.
Those
So
blasts.
dope.
Strength.
So dope.
Want to go real fast? Speed. Want to blow people? Up. Drift. Simple. If you wanted any more, maybe you should try wanting something else, like not being stuck in a locker. With measured pacing, car power grows linearly, such that with every hour or so of time, your current choices will have made everything before it completely obsolete. This is a trend that fades towards the final few chapters.
I will say, yeah, that's the odd thing, is by the time you finish the game, only like 4 cars matter, maybe.
Where instead of simply being better, they evolve into more distinct personalities, defined by these 4 attributes, you'd think, but who the hell asks you to think? In reality, the stats here are important, but usually misleading. The best drift cars aren't actually the best at drifting, and the Elite 440 is supposedly a hog in corners when it's actually better than the Corbetti Pursuit. These numbers must have been written by Dream. Instead, the Corbetti Slipstream takes the drift crown. By contrast to every other option, hardly a tap sends it sideways.
It's super weird to hear a professionally made split-second video also reference Dream. Like, it's weird that they're both on the same timeline right now.
The things you can do in this machine are glorious. The Elite GT12 is the glass cannon. You're quick than quick, but weaker than weak. Shockwaves have you spiraling out of control and crashing into your competitors is an absolute no. Distinct personalities. You'll wise up to your choices soon enough. You'll make them quickly, but they'll always be meaningful. In survival, the wise play is obvious. A horde of
I wouldn't say it's super fun solo, just high score hunting, but playing this split screen 2-player, so much fun. Because you get to bump your opponent constantly, bob and weave behind like the AI like cannon fodder, and try and throw your opponent out into it. So much fun playing it competitively.
Striped competitors fill the arena. They die to set the stakes. Blue shock you, red spell your doom. This is a game of evasion, but don't be so comforted. You're on the clock, past the trucks to keep your lifeline, because if that timer hits 0, sudden death. It will be sudden, but you may not see it coming. Another element of luck. You'll almost always be able to predict the red barrels, but if a corpse occludes your view, sudden death. Sometimes it won't be worth it. Most of the time it will be. Survival rides or dies on its tension. You're glued to your screen, and by God, is it fun with a friend. Bring something nimble.
Big moment for Kai. He's the supreme stoner speedrunner. 1000, dude, he subbed to me and did that. This is financial responsibility at a peak, chat. Take notes.
But most of all, strong. Elimination. Race to the finish line. Whoever gets there.
Dude, I love that Kai and Bryant just passed each other twice. Do you guys see that, chat? They were like going through the door. Kai came in. Then Bryant came in. Then Bryant left. Then Kai came in. They literally just within minutes danced around each other.
Lives. After 1 minute and then every 20 seconds the rear is culled, so the aim of the game is to drive well enough to never concede your place. In that, the risks are amplified, and the tension is at a more consistent high than any other event.
Dude, Kai buying legal weed, I'm an official speedrunner now. What year is it, dude? I have 6 submitted times. I have the world record split-second guy in my chat.
Crash can spell instant defeat far more often than it would otherwise. There may be no coming back.
I love that this YouTuber with fucking 340k subs made a video about this. Like, yesterday. And that it still has a community. It was so dope to me. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I'll speedrun it.
Not strength then, so speed? Think again. In the Hanzo FX350, you'll take every corner flat out, but without the power from drifting, how do you plan to cut down the pack? You've got 20 seconds. Still think betting on speed was smart? Detonator has you on your own, against the orchestrated perils of the track itself. Maybe here, the Hanzo ain't so bad. With excellent accuracy and excellent speed, you stand a chance. One far better than the Slipstream, whose 400-yard drifts gain it no power points and so no actual point.
True.
You'd be better off sliding like that in Air Revenge, where you'll need every slither of power you can muster. Consider it a boss fight. Evade through rapidly changing.
I just wish Air Revenge.
This is a message
Thank you.
to Lil Uzi Vert.
Me every time Son says wow.
When do I say wow?
Now, let's take a look at him. Wow.
What? Wait, why is that me when I say wow? Huh? How? What? What just happened? Am I stupid? Am I dumb?
Now, let's take a look at him. Wow.
What?
Changing danger
Thank you for the 2.
zones to get your resource. Spend it on missiles of your own. Blues 1.
Yeah, this Air Revenge needs so much more. I don't know. It's by far the most boring game. Well, not Air Revenge, but Air Attack. Both of them. Survival, race, elimination, all good. This, it should. I don't know. It should be more interesting. With the it's a helicopter versus a fucking car. I don't know why it's not as cool to me as the other ones.
Red's 4. That allows people who can't drift to save their life to save their lives, and people who can to make this a quick death. Split Seconds game modes exploit its own strengths for everything they're worth. It's rare to see such calculated execution on the first time, but BlackRock aren't done yet. Elite races are like races, but with Baphomet worshippers, Angelina Jolie, and, most importantly, a consistent set of names. Over the literal and figurative course of the Split Second season, forming rival.
I always thought it was such a cool but corny idea. I always hated Rig because he is a massive honking car on the road. And what is the other one? Rig, and there's one other one.
Rivalries with them isn't just optional, it's likely, and I'll be damned if they aren't programmed.
Livewire is stupid fucking fast, plus this game's rubber banding. It's so unfair. Because Season 1, the fastest car you have is nothing. Meanwhile, you're going against Livewire, who is a goddamn indie car and has rubber banding. It is awful. But it makes the early game so much more intense, and it grabs you so much more.
With personality traits to make that bolder. Raptor or Vixen is always the one you'll battle for first.
I never had that.
Livewire and Torpedo are always the two you'll decimate.
Lil Uzi Vert.
Son hurt himself in his confusion.
Why am I getting insulted by money? Who am I? GameStop? Good one, me. Fuck, what? I'm more... Never mind. I'm not going to use the C word anymore. I am curmudgeoned.
In their one strength point death traps. Hammer is immune to most shockwaves, is easy to pass, but tough to destroy.
I hate that he doesn't talk about... Why doesn't he talk about Rig at all? That's the one I always hated. Because when you'd be in an elite race, he spawns right in front of you, goes at a snail's pace, and suddenly he's going 1 billion miles an hour, cutting corners perfectly, slamming you into the fucking side of the road until you fall off.
Split Second is unrelenting, broad and...
Dude, the attacks right before the finish line, whoever at the dev team thought of that idea, great idea. Phenomenal. Those massive power plays right before the finish line, you're like sweating. You've been trying to beat this elite race with this fucking Honda Civic fucking 98. And you're zooming and you're gaining, but they're coming up to the finish line, and suddenly you hit the perfect drift, and it's like, do you want to hit B? And you're like, motherfucker, they deserve it. And you hit B, and it's the right moment, and you see a fucking mudslide and a monsoon sweep them out of existence. They are now extinct. Fuck them, fuck their family, they're dead. And you whip that bitch and right past their car's carcass, and you win. This game is so good, bro. So good.
Diverse in its instrumentation, it is composed concisely for adrenaline, and nothing but. It seems almost scientific. That's because it was meant to be. Episodes? Seasons? What does it even mean to win split second? It means we'll be adored by the masses. The WWE of racing, split second is media, in-game and out. But when you've won,
Wait a minute. Hey, how are those power plays getting set off? We deactivated them after the final race.
This is a message to Lil Uzi Vert.
No comment TBH.
So, Greg, what are you doing today?
Blarg, I am hungry. Arr. Among them, tastes like black.
Wait. Text.
I would like 10.
I was gonna upload me reacting to this as a YouTube video, and now I have to edit it. I initially was gonna have to edit it, but now because you have to, you know, be supportive, I have to edit it. You sack of shit. Out here talking like a simp. Pancho, you don't have a game that you like this much? I don't know. I think everyone has a game like this. Portal 2 is one that's close for me. I love Portal 2. What up, Jaw Crispy? How you doing today?
Guys,
No, they went off air in 82.
They went off the air in 82.
Oh, man, this ain't good. Clear the set! Now!
Now!
Get out of there, I'm telling you!
Yeah, I know that. Console one's better. PC one's very corny, I think. I don't know, I haven't seen the console one since I was a kid.
It never was. It never will be. Split Second is just one side of a blighted coin. On the other is Blur. Both released in the same week. Both reviewed excellently. Both sold terribly. Both ruined their developers. Both had their sequels cancelled. Fate was tragically cruel to among the most underappreciated arcade races in living memory. And both
I have to wipe the
had
dust
different
off of
stories.
it.
Black Rock was swallowed by the black hole that is Disney. Months before release, the company changed directions. No longer was it interested in AAA. Social gaming was the big new thing, so the sales never really mattered. There was no way Split Second couldn't have ended Black Rock. It was born the wrong genre.
Fucking mobile gaming, bro. Fuck mobile gaming. Weird champ mobile gaming in the chat.
Anonymous sources knew they were done before the game ever hit store shelves. At least Activision handled things properly, they said to Shack News. The developers of Blur got real support and feedback. We haven't. We're getting shafted. So they did. In July 2011, their doors were shut forever. 2014 was when the final light for Split Second ever shone. Alongside Epic Mickey 2, they were
Like racing games? Yeah, I'm super hyped for this year's Need for Speed. Because they took last year off for the first time in years. Because like Assassin's Creed, they've been releasing a new Need for Speed every year. They haven't really done anything game-breaking. I really liked Rivals. I know a lot of people didn't. And I liked the gameplay of Rivals, but I liked the aesthetic of the Need for Speed Heat that just came out like 2 years ago. I loved the Miami aesthetic of that. But they took last year off and didn't release a game. And they're meant to release a big game this year. So I'm very excited to see if taking that year off to rebuild the game and what that does. I hope it means good things, but I'm very nervous. The last Need for Speed was the Hot Pursuit remaster, and that was garbage. And it's the first one that I had to return. I played it for an hour and I was like, I'm done. I have to return this. This is awful. You gotta go. All right, see you later, Crispy.
to PC. Don't make the mistake I did, and trust it. Controller support sucks thermonuclear ass, textures won't load in during later episodes, and best of all, there's a catastrophic autosave glitch that wipes your save file if you don't finish episode 6 in one sitting. As for accessibility, I can confirm this game is playable with one hand. I won't be taking any questions. This game's experience is compromised, but it's one you cannot deny yourself. Split Second murdered its maker, and then it made them immortal. Don't you ever forget it. Here's something else to not forget.
This is a message to Lil Uzi Vert!
Wake me up when Split Second 2 comes out and looks like this.
It's the scramjet. Wait for it. There we go. Damn. Think about the $10 bones. Anyways, split second, good game. Hot take. Hot take, I know.